Hello learners, in this class we will discuss design of single reinforced beam sections. And these beam sections are generally for simply supported at both the ends. Now, single reinforcement section means the tension reinforcement is given in one phase. Generally for simply supported beam it is the bottom phase. Double reinforced section means the reinforcement is provided both tension phase and compression phase. The both phases the reinforcement provided. Now, in the present class, we will see regarding this single reinforcement beam sections. Now, in this problem, what is given? It is given that clear span is given 6 meter span. Span is will be given. It may be clear span or maybe effective span. If effective span is given, don't calculate it. If it is clear span given, then you have to calculate the effective span. Then subject UDL is given 20 kilonewton per meter throughout the span. Use M25 grade concrete and Fe415 grade. Any data is not given in the design, you are free to assume as per the Codal provision. So what the problem is given here? This is a simply supported beam with UDL. And it has the width of support. That means there you have to draw the section of this beam. The beam is like this. Okay? It is supported on the simple supports. So width of support is not given. So you have to assume that data. Diameter of rod is not given. That you have to assume. So whatever data is missing here, that can be assumed as per the Codal provision. If you assume anything in the design, that has to verify during the course of design. That is the main thing. Now, what is written here? All the clause, table, and graphs that you will find in this problem, all are referred to IS 456-2000. So you should keep while doing the design or while clarifying your doubts on the design concepts. You must have the code book IS 456-2000. All the guidelines or the Codal provisions will be followed the design. Now data what given, grade of concrete is given 25, so MCK is 25, and grade of steel is given, that is F5415. Now effective span of beam will be 6.3 meter, that will calculate. It is not required here, you will calculate here the effective length. Effective span means effective length, that will calculate it here. So you may stroke it here, it is not, you may not do here. And what do you assume? You assume the cross section of the beam, that is not known to you. B is equal to 250, overall depth is 500, cover to reinforcement 25, diameter of bar is 16 millimeter, diameter of the stirrups 8 mm, width of the support 300. So you may ask questions, or there is a question may arise in your mind, how to take this cross section of the beam to assume. Generally, the width of the beam generally we take 250 or 300 millimeter. In some cases, we go also 400 millimeter width of the beam where the large cross sections are required. That means if the load is more, then more bending moment will come. Then you need a beam cross section of the more moment of resistance. But the beam width size generally vary from 250 to 400 within that range. But depth may vary anything. Now the depth value, how to find out? It depends on experience. So after doing some problems or have some idea, then you can do that. Define. This is required for your exam purpose theoretically. But these things can be easily changed in any programming. If you are doing some programming, you do all these formulas in a programming in Excel or in MATLAB or in any thing. Then by changing one of the data, you can got your results. So that is your secondary stage. When you clear your concepts, then you can do that. So that help on your basically on the experience. So depending on the loading and the bending moments, the value of depth will go on increasing or decreasing. Now, as you know, the cover to reinforcement for beams we have already seen in the mild exposure conditions because no exposure condition is given in this problem. So we can take the mild exposure and the cover value minimum is 25 millimeter for beams. And diameter of rod again it is maybe 16, maybe 20, 25. So if loads are very large, if you get large cross sections, so you may go for a higher diameter of rod. the load is less, span is less, then you can go with 16 mm bars or your 20 mm bars. Sometimes also you can go 12 mm bars as the main reinforcement, but main reinforcement shall not be less than 12 mm bars. Then diameter of the stirrups, as you've seen already, to 8 mm 5 bar spec, and width of support maybe 300 and 250 millimeter, depending on your need on the site. Now, first we'll see how to calculate effective depth. Now we go to procedures, the step-by-step procedure of the design. The first step, first you data what is given, then data you assume, then go for calculation of effective depth. How to calculate effective depth? We have already discussed. Overall depth minus cover minus half of the diameter rod. So this is given in clause number 23. You can go to clause number 23. Open your code book of clause number 23. In clause 23, you can so open your code clause 23. Your effective depth. Okay. Go to that page number, effective depth, page number 36. Okay. In the page number 36, you see the clause number 23. What is the effective depth given here? So read yourself. Effective depth of a beam is the distance between the centroid of the area of tension reinforcement and the maximum compression fiber, excluding the thickness of the finishing material, not placed monolithically with the member and the thickness of any concrete provided to allow or UL. This will not apply for D beams. So effective depth for these beams, what we have discussed earlier, the same thing taking that simply try that from top compression fiber to the centroid of steel. That also we have discussed earlier. So if you have the reinforcement here from the center of reinforcement to this top compression fiber, this is called the effective depth. So top compression fiber to center of steel. So that will find out the overall depth minus cover minus half of the diameter of rod. So that is the that is your so how to find effective depth. Similarly, you can find effective span. You can see that a clause number 22.2. What is effective span for simply supported beam or slabs? The effective span of a member that is not built integrally with the supports shall be taken as clear span plus the effective depth of the slab or beam or center to center of supports, whichever is less. Very important. So one is clear span. This is for both slab and beam. Effective span, simply supported beam and slab. For both cases, the effective span is equal to clear span plus effective depth that you already calculated. So first you have calculated effective depth. So clear span plus effective depth of slab or beam, okay, or effective to center support. Center to center supports already I have explained earlier. Now center to center support means this is the support, this is the support here, this is the width of support here, this is the width of support here. So find the center of the support here, center of support here, then center to center support is equal to your clear effective span. That means this is your clear span plus half of the width of support here, half of the width of support here, add both sides, that will be the effective span. So if the support thickness are same on both sides, then it is clear span plus width of support, because half on this side, half of that side. If the width of supports are different, suppose here 300 is here 250, so it will be 125 plus 150. If both are 300, then you have to take only 300. So that you have to check and then find out. So this is regarding the effective span and effective depth for your drawings. Now let us go to the problem. Okay. So we have to find out this clear span and so once you find out effective depth and clear span, next is you have to go for the load calculation part. How to calculate the loads. Okay. Now we have calculated the effective depth first, then calculate effective span. Clause number 22.2.b.2. We have seen page 34, and this is given in page 36 perhaps. You see that clause 23 and clause 22. Find out effective depth and effective span. Effective length is equal to clear span plus width of support, because the both sides width are same, or clear span plus the effective, whichever the less. So it comes out to 6,300 millimeter or 6.3 meter. So next step is load calculations. What are the loads will come? As we have seen, we have discussed earlier, there will be dead loads and live loads in case of this kind of problems. Dead load is not the self weight of the beam. The self weight of beam is given in clause number 19.2. You can go to clause 19.2, where it is given that this unit weight of concrete is 25 kilonewton per meter cube, multiply by its width into the depth. This is the overall depth. This is a capital D, not small d. This is the overall depth. This is the gross cross-sectional area. Gross area multiply the unit weight, that will give you the dead load. You can see clause number 19.2. That is the unit weight of RCC. Unit weight of plain concrete is 24 kilonewton per meter cube. Or unit weight of RCC is 25 kilonewton per meter cube. That is given in this clause. You can refer this clause, the code. And live load is given 20. So now total load will be dead load plus live load is coming out this. Then you have to find out your factor load. Multiply with the load factor. Load factor is given in table number 18. You can see the table number 18 in page 68. Go to your page number 68, the IS code, page number 68. Go to IS code, page 68, table number 18. You can see there is a load factor given on that table. For dead load and live load, it is given table 18. The value is given 1.5. So 1.5 is taken here as the load factor. So load factor is multiplied, so that further all the movements and shears will come. That is ultimate load and ultimate shear force will come, because we have already multiplied 1.5 here. Don't multiply again to bending moment and shear force, right? So once you find this load, then you have to go for calculating maximum bending moment, maximum shear force. So that direct formula is that since it is simply supported, maximum bending moment is W L effective square by 8, and maximum shear force will be WL by 2. So it will be unit kilonewton meter. This is in kilonewton. We will find this value. I think it is very clear. Now next step is, once you find bending and shear, then you have to follow the other steps. What are the other steps? Then design for flexure, design for shear. Then we have to go for discuss the check for deflection, check for development length. All these modules, all the concepts has already been discussed in earlier lectures. So please refer the earlier lectures on the analysis and design of single reinforcement beam sections for flexure, then design for shear theory and problems, then development bond and development length, and then deflections. So you must read all these, you must see all these lectures already uploaded in YouTube, and then you come to this so that you can better understand. So you don't need further analysis understanding this, because these are individually, all these sections have been discussed in the earlier lectures. So please refer that in the YouTube, these earlier lectures uploaded in my site. Now design for flexure. What the design for flexure? In the flexure means bending. So as also we have discussed sometime that that different type of limit states, but they have been clearly. If you go to page number 67, go to page number 67 of your code, you find limit states. In the limit states, you will find limit state for collapse, limit state for serviceability. Under the limit state of collapse, you have the flexure, that is bending, then shear, then torsion, then combination of these things may also come. And then in serviceability, will find deflection check, then crack width, then temperature, then fire resistance. So many things will come on the serviceability criteria. Now, in the simple soldering, we'll check for the, we'll design for the flexure. That means the collapse case, the load for bending criteria will taken for the design for flexure. Then we'll find shear and then check for development and deflection. Now, the design is done that the maximum bending moment that will occur in the beam due to the external loads and the self weight must be equal to the limiting section, because you know that this section is either under reinforced, over reinforced, or balance section. Generally designed for balance section, and then you can go for under reinforced. Over reinforced sections are not allowed in the design; that should be discarded. And you have to, if it is over reinforced, then you have to redesign the section. So either it is balanced or it will be under reinforced. So generally you go for the balance section. So MU limiting is equal to maximum bending moment. Now for the MU limiting moment, you go to page number 96. In page number 96 for the balance section, a formula is given. Okay. From the formula, you find for this particular grade of concrete and for particular grade of steel, you will find XU maximum by D, and those things if you will replace by the value 0.48, you will find it's coming 0.138. So this is the formula. You will find a simple formula that for the Fe415, this for balance section, the limiting moment is equal to 0.138 FCK BD square. This 0.138 comes from that formula 0.36 into XU maximum by D into 1 minus XU limiting maximum by D. So those things you put, will find these values. So for Fe415, you'll find it's 0.138 FCK BD square. FCK is 20 and B is already 300, and you have to find the value of D. So there are two parameters on the section. B and D we have assumed. One value you have to keep constant, you have to vary other. So B generally we keep constant 250 or 300 meter, and we have to find the value of, what is the value of D required for this much of moment. So from this formula, find out that is coming 446 millimeter. What we have provided? We have provided 467. So requirement is 446, provided 467. So section is set. If here this value will come 500, 475, 480, then you have to revise the section. You have to increase your depth and then redesign the section. So that is what the design we are doing. That what you have assumed, that you assume the depth. So depth must be satisfied. If depth is not satisfied, then you have to redesign. Any point it is not satisfied the codal provision, then you have to redesign the section. So so maximum bending moment is equal to limiting moment. From this criteria, keeping the width constant, find the D. If D value is less than the D provided, then we'll design for the D provided. Now whenever you now calculate the AST, all the shear, you have to take D is equal to 467, not this 446. This is the required value, but we have provided more than that, so we are safe. So what you have provided, that for according to that you find the area of steel. Now area of steel formula is again given on page 96 for these under reinforced sections. You can find out that formula, and this formula is the simplified version of that equation, given that your MU is equal to that formula is given 0.87 Fy into AST into 1 minus XU by that formula is given. So you will see page number 96 for under reinforced section, the formula, and then from that you find AST. AST is a that will become a quadratic equation, and you'll find AST will come this. So this is the standard formula you remember, that 0.5 BD FCK by Fy 1 minus root over 1 minus 4.6 MU by FCK BD square. This formula will use for your slabs as well as for the beams. You can use this formula. So from this formula, find AST is coming 1239. Now if you are using the 16 mm bars, but the number of bars required, the number of bars are coming 6.16. So 6.16 is coming. So you can provide 7 or 6, because 0.16 plus minus 10% deviation is allowed, whatever the requirement here, because already you have taken the depth is more. So you can make also 6 bars. So 6.16 you can provide 6 bars. Okay, if it becomes 6.75, 6.8, then you cannot provide 6. Provide for 7 plus minus 10% allowed. Requirement is 1239. We have provided 1206. So what is the difference? You see, difference is only 33 mm square, which is less than even your 1%, 2% values. Now, what is the area provided? Now, area provided is this. So, requirement was this. Now, provided this. So, it is higher than the required value. So, it is safe. Now, what is the minimum tension enforcement? Minimum tension enforcement required. You go to clause number 26.5.1.1a from your code. You find there is a formula given for minimum enforcement. That is AST by BD. You will find the formula is given on that clause 26.5. AST by BD is equal to 0.85 by Fy. This formula is given. From this formula, what will find out? What is the minimum steel requirement? We have provided this. But what is the minimum steel? The provided steel shall be more than minimum, shall be less than maximum. So minimum steel is given AST by BD 0.85 Fy. Fy is known, B is known, D is known. Provide AST. Find the AST. And D is D provided. Okay. Now AST comes out to be AST comes out to be 239.12, which is less than the AST provided. So okay, we have provided 1206 for requirement 239. So it is safe. So see this clause. Now what the maximum tension enforcement? It is also given in the same clause. It is 1.1a, it is 1.1b. In the same page, you will find out the maximum enforcement is equal to 4% of the gross area in tension as well as in compression. See that clause. The maximum tension enforcement in beam section is equal to 4% of the gross area, 0.04 B into B. So now this value provided is more than the minimum, less than maximum. So design is safe. Now we'll go to design for shear. Design of shear already we have discussed in the previous lecture. Only thing you follow the procedure. Now if you are providing only vertical stirrups, VU is given, find out the nominal shear stress tau V, VU by BD, then find percent of steel, that is AST provided. So from table number 19, again for M25, it is between 1 and 1.25. So calculate the value of tau C. Once you calculate tau C, then check tau B and tau C. Tau B is greater than tau C, so shear enforcement required. Find the design shear, that is equal to tau B minus tau C BD. Okay, already we have discussed all these things. Or you refer the previous videos for this shear design only. Then using 2-legged 8-5 stirrups, find out the spacing. Now spacing again come here 504. The spacing is coming 504 from the design criteria. From the minimum shear criteria, it is coming 362.9. Already we have discussed minimum shear enforcement criteria. ASP by BSB is greater than equal to 0.4 by 0.87 Fy, and then the maximum spacing is 0.75 D or 300 millimeter, whichever the less. So go to this Odal provisions. Clauses are given. The clause number 26.5.1.5. See these clauses. Maximum spacing is given in the clause 26.5.1.5. Minimum shear is given 26.5.1.6. So see these clauses, and then you find out the maximum is 300. So provide 300 millimeter throughout the section 2 leg hidden parts, because this value is 504, this is 362, this is 375, but the maximum cannot be more than 300 millimeter the spacing. So provide 300 millimeter. So this is the only way to provide the vertical stirrup. So this is regarding the stirrup designs. So shear design. Next come to development length. We have already also discussed the development length problems. So what is LD? LD is equal to 5 sigma S by 4 tau BD, and tau BD you can find from the table. Okay. In clause number 26.2.1, from the table find out the value of tau BD, and phi is 16 and sigma S is 415. And what is L0? L0 is equal to your, we can take this reinforcement up to this from beyond the center of support. How we can take? This is your support. So from center you can take up to, this is the support. You can leave only 25 meter cover from this. This can be left. So rest is available for you at the anchorage. So L0 is equal to 300 minus 25 beyond the support. Now all the bars available at support. So there is no bent up. All the bars have been taken to support. So it is very important. Whether you will take all the bars, will do some bent up, because we have not done any bent up calculation in the shear. All the bars available at the support. So you find the moment of resistance, that is 0.87 AST into D minus 0.41 XU. Calculate XU, find M1, it is come to 167.994. And V you already know the ultimates here. At the support, L0 is known, so calculate this value. The value is coming 1812.47 millimeter. So that means your LD, what is the equation? LD shall be less than, you please refer to your earlier things in the development length. LD shall be less than 1.3 M1 by V plus L0. So in this clause you will find clause 26.2.3.3. You can go there, you can find out this, that LD shall be less than equal to this. So this is checked. So when it is set. So that means what you check, that means the diameter of bar you have used 16. So 16 mm diameter is sufficient to provide the bond. So diameter we have assumed, and the diameter has been checked in the development length. Now let us go for check for deflection. Check for deflection, again you go to page number 37, that this clause number 23.2.1.a and C that we have already discussed, that effective length by the effective depth ratio shall be less than 20 into modification factor. This modification factor depends on the FS and the percentage of reinforcement. So depending on the percentage of reinforcement and this value, you calculate the value of FS. FS, you calculate the steel required by the steel provided. So you can see what the steel required. Steel required was 1239, provided is 12.6. It is FY, this is 0.58. So for this FS and for the percentage of reinforcement, already we have found what the percentage of reinforcement, PT. PT already we have found in the beginning somewhere, percentage of steel. For calculating this area of the steel, we have calculated PT value. PT value is 1.033. So for 1.033, the PT value is here. So now PT value is, you can take, PT is already calculated. PT is equal to percentage of tension reinforcement is equal to 1.03. So it is nearly 1.033. From that curve on figure 4, for PT is equal to 1.033 and FS is equal to 247. Calculate the modification factor is coming 0.96. Now 20 into 0.96, this value shall be less than this. So 13.49 less than 19.2. So this is set. This is all regarding the deflection check. Now once you do the deflection check, then you have to do the detailing of this design detailing. So I have already told the design detailing you can find in the SP34 design detailing. So we have shown this section here. So what is the cross section? The cross section is 300 by now see the cross section is 300 by 250 by 300. If you take longitudinal section, it is 600 clear span, 300 both sides supports. Then stirrups are provided, 2 leg 85, 200 center to center. Main reinforcement given 6 numbers of 16.5 bars, which is available throughout the length. There is no bento bars, and these 2 numbers of 12 bars are provided as holding bars. So all are the shear stirrups provided. If you take a cross section, the section is cut at XX. If you cut section at XX, you will find out the number of bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your 1, 2, and this is your stirrups. 2 leg 8mm stirrups. So this is the stirrups provided here. Now again you have to see whether these 6 bars can be put in one line or you need the 2 lines. That is also to be considered. Whether the bars can be arranged in one line or the bars are required the number of rows. Because what is the concept? Let me see you that show you that this is the total width B. So you have to put cover both sides, the CC. So 25 is gone. So 50 millimeter is gone. Out of 250, 50 millimeter is gone. So available is 200. Within 200, you have the bars, and also there will be spacing between the bars. The spacing between the bars has some specification given in the code. Okay, go through that. That it shall not be more than there will be diameter of the bars or 2/3 of the size of the course of aggregate. So these values come generally 25 millimeter. If it is 25 millimeter, if you put 4 bars, there will be 3 spacings. 1, 2, 3, 4 bars means 1, 2, 3. 75 into 175. So now it is not available 175. So 3 bars will be on the bottom, 3 bars will top. So this is also 1 bar has to go here because it cannot accommodate in the width. You have to find how many bars can be spaced. So bar diameter is known, but the spacing between these two also to be sufficient as per the codal provision, so that the vibrators can go inside the concrete. If the spacing is very less, then concrete cannot be compacted because vibrators cannot go below this. So with this I conclude this design of single reinforced beam sections. So in the design of the single reinforced beam sections, what we discussed, that the steps are very simple. You know all the concepts. First you write the data is given, then assume the data required for your design. Then first is find the effective depth, then effective length, then your load calculations, then maximum bending and maximum shear, then design for a flexure, design for shear, check for development length, and check for your check for deflection and check for development length. So these are the gist or the steps on your design of this design of single reinforced beam section. With this we conclude your section, your today's discussion on this single reinforcement beam designs. So have a nice day. Thank you all.